Hi, Leslie Fiorenzo, and you might know that I wrote and published on Amazon the 21 Lessons for Mastering the Difficult Conversation. And as I've spoken to groups about that book, the question from the audience has often been, so what do I do if somebody won't engage with me? What do I do if somebody just refuses to talk to me about a situation? That, my friends, is the subject of today's video. But as always, I want to invite you to share this with a friend if you think it would be helpful for them, and subscribe to my channel so you get my weekly communication, my weekly videos. So I was recently presenting to a group of city clerks, and the question came up again: what do I do if my coworker, or in this case it was her direct report, refuses to talk? Now, try as we might, we cannot force another person to talk to us. We just can't force them. What we can do is our best to lay the groundwork for the conversation and invite them into the conversation. But if they refuse, well, so be it. And sometimes we just have to, as the song says, let it go. But here's 3 ways you can invite that person into the conversation. That's what I want to share, is these 3 ideas. So the first thing I want to recommend you do is stop, take a breath, and prepare an effective way to respond. Because I have learned from personal experience, it does not benefit either party if you respond in anger or frustration. So take a breath, think before you respond, and say to yourself, have a conversation with yourself, I'm not sure what's going on with this person, but I'm going to remain calm. But we can never know what's going on in somebody else's head. We can only know what's going on in our own head. So I'm not sure. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to believe they are doing the best they can at this moment in time. And so I'm going to let them know I'm willing to listen. So inhale to the count of 4, hold it for 4, exhale for 4, and hold that exhale for the count of 4. So before you just meet with the person, do some breathing exercises, get yourself calm and centered before you approach that individual. So then when you approach them, you can craft an opening line. So you do this before, you're thinking about your opening line, like what am I going to say before I get in there? You're not going to just wing it. So you might consider, since we have to work together, I want our work time to be the best it can be. So I'd like to talk about, and then you fill in the blank, what happened yesterday, the Jones report's not getting ready, whatever it is, right? Whatever the situation is, you're going to want to talk to them. But since we work together, I want it to be the best it can be. Or another way to approach it is you can say, I think we might have a misunderstanding, and I'd like to hear your side of the story. I'd like to hear what you have to say about what happened. So you're going to invite them into the conversation. Or you can say something like, I think we have different perceptions about fill in the blank, whatever it is, and I'd like to hear what you think. Avoid starting with a question. Avoid what's going on? Why are you angry? What's happening? Right? We don't want to approach it from that perspective, because that'll just set somebody back, and then they probably really won't talk to you. So create an opening statement, or I like to call it an opening line, to invite them in to the conversation with you and assure them you're willing to listen. So if you're not sure what to say, or you'd like some lines, I have about 8 lines on a PDF. So drop a note in the chat below this video, and I'll send you that document. And these are just a few of the ways you can respond. I created a video and posted that on opening lines. That was posted on February 21st. If you want to go back, and it's called How to Start a Difficult Conversation. So just a few ideas there. And then I want you to think about being willing to understand. When you're listening, avoid the temptation to judge or give advice. Do your best to step into their shoes, see the situation from their perspective. Really listen for the undertones, not just the words, but the feeling behind the words. You might recall the story about the blind men and the elephant. A group of blind men never encountered an elephant before, and each blind man was touching the elephant different. Somebody was touching the trunk, and one was touching the tusk, and one was touching the foot and the leg. And since each one of them touched a different part, they described the elephant in a different way. Based on their limited experience, their descriptions of the elephant were really different. Now, in some versions of the story, the blind men get really angry with each other and think one of them's being dishonest, and so they get into a huge fight, a huge argument, and maybe even come to blows. But the moral of the parable is that we don't often see things. As humans, we have a tendency to claim absolute truth based on our limited experience, limited subjective experience. So we ignore the other person's limited subjective experience too. So I know this is really challenging to do, but do your best to set aside judgment and listen to what the person has to say. Listen for the feelings and emotion behind the words, and then you might be able to tell your side of the story, because we know, as it's been said, there's two sides to every story: yours, mine, and then the truth is in the middle. So actually there's three, but you have a choice. So if this person is a peer and you invite them into the conversation and they still don't want to participate, you have done your best. And as again the song says, you have to let it go, right? Frozen. If you have little girls, you probably have heard that umpteen bazillion times. But if the person is your subordinate, then it's a different situation. If they refuse to talk to you, then you might have to invoke your power as their supervisor and let them know, hey, we've got to resolve this. It is not something that we can just disregard. And maybe you have to involve your supervisor. Maybe you have to involve your HR department. Probably depends on your organization. In either case, know that you have done your very best, and you're just going to have to follow the protocols that your company has set for you.